What's going on, everyone? My name is Ray, and today we're going to go over the Panasonic G7. Ever since I filmed my first vlog with the Panasonic G7 like a month ago, people have been asking me in the comments, what are the settings you use? Can you tell me how to use the camera better? The autofocus, what's going on with that? What tips do you have, suggestions? So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go over the settings that I use on my Panasonic G7 to make the vlogs that I make. So this video is not going to be about manual settings and all that stuff. For the people that want to use manual settings to film all their vlogs, that's awesome. I do that sometimes too, but this video is probably not going to be for you. So if you're into manual settings, probably click off now. But this video is going to be more about automatic settings, I guess you could say, for people that want to pick up the Panasonic G7 out of the box and just start vlogging and really not have too many things to worry about, not too many headaches. Just turn the camera on, vlog themselves, and make great content instead of having to worry about choosing the aperture, the shutter speeds, and just making sure the exposure is correct all the time. I mean, filming manual is great when you want to make cinematic pieces and stuff, but when you want to do daily vlogging like a lot of people in the comments are trying to do, you really just want a camera you can pick up, just start recording and make good content. So I'm going to just hop right into it. The settings you should know to make your filming experience much easier on the Panasonic G7. Alright guys, so I'm actually filming this intro piece right now on the Panasonic G7 and I have my Rode mic attached, so the video quality is probably pretty good and the audio quality is probably pretty good, but the reason I got this camera is because all my other cameras aren't too great, and the only way that I can film the settings on this is using another camera, so the audio might not be as great. So hopefully I get the point across for the best settings, in my opinion, to use on a pretty much automatic setup for the Panasonic. So without further ado, let's get into the settings. Okay guys, so we're here in the menu settings. So first this first menu section is for pictures. We're going to leave that one alone. We're going to go here to the camcorder icon, which is where we're going to use our settings, because these are going to be the settings we need for filming video. So first we'll do photo style. So pretty much this is just like almost like a filter, I guess you'd say, a color grading that you can lay on top of all footage that you record. So your first option is natural, then you have monochrome, which is black and white, scenery, which adds a little different coloring, looks like it adds some more like contrasty colors, portrait, custom, and standard. I would suggest, if you're going to do color grading in like post-production, which you're probably not going to do because, like I said, this is more for an automatic setup kind of video, so we're not going to really worry about natural. What we're going to want to do is go to custom, so that way we don't have to do any color grading later in post-production. All our footage is going to have a good look to it. It's going to look a little bit more rich than just a standard image of natural. You know, we'll bring up some of the contrasts and some of the saturation just straight from all the recordings that you'll do on this camera. So what I like to do is, for contrast, these are just the settings I have right now that I've liked so far. After using a little while, I tinker with it to see what I like, but I don't use custom too much because, like I said, I use natural and then I do color grading in post. But this is what I would suggest for you guys to start off. This is the contrast here, and I had it at +1. You can do more. Contrast just makes it a little bit darker. I'm not really a fan of too much contrast in video footage, so I kept it at a 1 to add a little something, make it a little less flat. And then for sharpness, that's at a 2. You can play with whatever you like, but start at a 2, and if you want a little bit more, you can add a little bit more, but start at 2. Noise reduction, I don't have anything there. And then saturation, I have it at 2, again, to add a little bit more life to the photo, or to the video. And yeah, I keep that at a +2. I think that looks pretty good for just some standard footage. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. 1 for the contrast. I would do +2 on sharpness, and then +2 on saturation. You guys should be good to go. Your footage is going to look a lot more rich, and it's going to pop. Next, we'll do filter settings. Nothing. Snap movie, nothing there. Record format, MP4. Record quality. Okay, so here, this is what we're going to be looking at for frames per second that it's going to be recording in. So just for standard vlogging and everyday filming, 30 frames a second is perfect. You have really good quality footage, and it's not going to take up a lot of memory on your computer. So 30 frames a second is awesome. I record all of my footage at 60 frames a second, only because when I like to do more cinematic pieces, I don't like to switch between 30 and 60 frames. I just like to keep it at 60 frames, and having a higher frame rate like that lets you have a lot smoother slow motion shots. It looks more buttery and more cinematic. So I keep it at 60, but just to keep it basic, I would suggest everyone records at 30 frames a second for their vlogging and basic video needs. Next we have AFS, AFF. I just keep it at AFS, and then the dial. I don't know if you guys can see the dial up here at the top. I just keep it switched all the way to the top. AFS/AFF. Keep the dial all the way to the top. Picture mode, you need to worry about that. Continuous autofocus on, of course, because you're vlogging. You're going to be changing different angles and viewpoints. So you want the camera to be able to focus for you, which I'll get into a little bit later. But continuous autofocus on. Metering mode. Some people like to use the spot metering. I just like to use the middle one here. It seems like it's kind of a happy medium between the two. So that's what I use. If you guys find you like the spot metering better, go for it. But I just found the middle one here to work best for me. Highlight, shadow, dynamic. We don't need any of this. Keep all that off, 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 off. Mic level display. I like to keep that on just so you know that you're recording some good audio. You can see the levels. And then speaking of levels, we have the mic level adjustment. I believe Rode Mic suggests that you record at -6 decibels. So that's what I have it at. It just makes the audio sound just a lot more clear and much higher quality. But you can also play with that. You can do a little bit less, a little bit higher. But I would say start at 6, see if you like that, and go from there. Mic level limiter, I keep that on. Wind noise canceller, you have an option between high, standard, and off. I just go with standard, it's in the middle, and it's worked awesome for me. I have the Rode Video Micro, I believe it is, and I've been in some very windy situations, had 0 problems. So wind noise canceller plus that mic has been awesome for me. And then, yep, we're back at the top here, so you already have your custom settings that I showed you guys to go with. And let's see. Okay, so now we're just in just standard custom settings here. So if you guys want silent mode on, your camera won't make any beeping noises or have any loud noises while you're operating it. I had silent mode off because I was doing different settings, but keep silent mode on if you don't want any loud beeping noises while you use the camera. Shutter autofocus on, half press release, quick autofocus. I have all that off. And if I'm going too fast, you guys can just go back in the video too and pause it at these different screens here. But this is just what I have. Histogram off because we're not taking pictures. Zebra pattern. I use zebra pattern too, but when I use manual settings, because I need to know the zebra will just show you where on your picture or where on your video it's overexposed. So that just helps to make sure you have your exposure correct. But you guys don't need to worry about that. So that looks like it's going to be it. Then from this settings, this is the main screen here. And the top right over here, you're going to see FN2. We're going to click that, and it's going to bring us into the quick menu here. Q menu on the right. FN2 will be above it. Click that. So for autofocus, there's these various modes here. We have pinpoint, one area, custom multi, 49 area tracking, face and eye detection. So I've used many of these, and I found the best for vlogging by far is tracking. So what you'll do with tracking is you'll come down and you'll select tracking, and then you'll see a square box here. That box you'll line up to wherever you want to lock your autofocus on, because that's what it does. The tracking will lock to whatever you want, which is perfect for vlogging because you're going to lock it on your face, and no matter where you move the camera, up, down, all around, it's still going to be locked on your face. You'll have the focus. People can see your face. So a few of my vlogs, obviously it's taken me a few vlogs to figure the best settings. So some of my vlogs, my face has been out of focus, but once I switched to the tracking mode, I haven't had any issues. So that's what I would suggest. So what you'll do is you will half press the shutter button and see where it turns green now. It's saying that you can do it. And now if you see up at the top over here, there'll be an orange box, and that's what it's locked on. I just locked it onto the door just to show you guys. But if you ever want to reset it, you can just come in here and then see that box. You can hit just display reset and then set, and then you're back to the middle. So if we go back into the quick menu, we'll come over here, autofocus single. We want AFS. That's fine. We want 4/3. That's the size of the sensor. It's a micro 4/3. And then all the way to the left here, this is where we can change our frame rates. So we can do full HD 30, 60. We can do 4K at 20 frames, 4K at 30 frames. But like I said, I would just lock it right in at full HD, 30 frames a second for now until you guys decide you want to do more cinematic shots or whatnot. And then here's also where we can change between our screen colors. So there's your custom setting. We already have it locked in. And if we keep going, auto balance. So we want auto white balance because, like we said, we want the most automatic settings that we can get to make it as easy as possible. So automatic white balance, automatic ISO here. That's just changes the ISO sensitivity. So if you need low light shots, you can bump up the ISO and get a little bit more brightness in your shots. But you want to be careful, because if you go too high, it can get grainy. But that's why I suggest auto, because the camera's going to do most of that for you. It's going to do a pretty good job at it. So yeah, these are my aperture values. But again, you guys aren't going to have to worry about that unless you guys use the settings that I use. Let's see if we can see here. Alright, so this is the top dial here. You can see all the different letters on it. So I have mine set to A, which is aperture priority mode. I can control the aperture to kind of change the exposure on the fly, which I enjoy doing. But for you guys, I would suggest P mode. So that's program automatic. That's going to keep everything automatic for you. You don't have to worry about shutter speed, aperture, anything. If you just leave it on P, like I said, it'll be good to go. You pick up the camera, start recording, you don't have to worry about anything. But if you guys want to do aperture priority mode, you can get in there and you can change the aperture so you can bump up or bump down the exposure on the fly. Kind of give you a little taste to the manual setup. So if you guys decide that the full automatic settings, it's a little too easy for you and you want to get more into filming and learn more about filming, the next step you could do would be bump it up to aperture priority mode and change the aperture as you record and get used to changing the exposure levels. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the basic settings on this camera. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for the Panasonic G7 basic settings setup, I guess we can call it. So like I said, this is just a basic settings video of everything you need to pick up your G7 out of the box, put in these settings, and get it ready to go. I'm not saying by any means these are the only settings you can use or these are the only settings you should use. I'm just saying these are some good basic settings, a good base you can start with, and then play with it from there. If you guys have any other suggestions and you're watching this video like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, leave it in the comments and maybe we can help some other people out. But I think I covered most of the basics here for the G7 and how to get it ready to go and start making some really good content. So if you guys like this video, go check out some of the other videos. We just got back from Curacao. I filmed like 7 vlogs, I think, from that trip. So go check those out. And if you like those videos and you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you. If this video helped you out at all with the settings on your new Panasonic G7 or even Panasonic you've had for a little while and you were just looking for some new setting information, I hope this video helped. And if it did, click that thumbs up. It helps a lot and it lets me know that I actually help some people, so that would be nice. So yeah guys, that's it for this video. I mean, I really hope it did help, and yeah, we will see you later.